does not get your juices flowing, that race car, I don't know what does. Every time I hear that, I get so excited. Welcome to Inside the Market. My name is David Jacobson. My voice is a little shot from coughing a little bit, but you are listening to Inside the Market. I'm with Jim Barry.
Morning.
Okay, Jim is going to share his expertise with us today. I think more important than ever before, because we're going to be doing a model that everyone has been asking for. But before we get into it, we just want to thank everyone who we met in Monterey for just stopping by the Works Reunion and the McCall's Jet Center, the Motorworks Revival. We had a great time in California. We met some awesome people, some new people, and also some of the people that have bought cars on Pcarmarket that we had a chance to meet in person. And you know what? That is always a lot of fun, Jim.
That's
when you
cool.
get to see. Now, Jim, you were supposed to go.
I was.
And some personal stuff kept you from going out there, which is okay now, but you were missed.
Yeah.
A lot of people said, "Where's Jim? Where's Jim?"
I wanted to go. Definitely wanted to go.
Yeah, it was a good time. Brad and I went to Pebble Beach, and we had a really good time, and we gave a lot of great stuff out with Pcarmarket, some hats and keychains, and people really dug it. And, it's also nice to meet some of the people that watch this show. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello, and they say they appreciate the information. It's helped them buy cars, and to tell you the truth, it was just really nice to sit and talk to those people. And we had a great laugh. You know who you are. We actually, at the Works Reunion, we had a lot of fun meeting some of the guys from California. We were talking about New York, California, the differences of the different types of people, and it was pretty interesting. But we are here today, and we are also, thank you for following us on social media. Brad mentioned that to me. What, Brad? Okay, I'm only kidding. Brad wanted me to mention that remember to thank everyone for following us, because a lot of people followed our Instagram and our Facebook account and got some insight into where we were and what we were doing in Monterey as well. And also, it's a reminder to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, because we have some cool stuff. Greg does a great job. Shout out to Greg for putting up some really good content, interesting and beautiful photos, and we got a great team here, as I always say. So we're going to go into something that is very, very important for a lot of people, Jim, and that is, this was your idea to do this segment because of all the people who've been asking you and sending emails, can you do the 991?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of confusion, and there's been a lot of change over the past few months, so people don't know what to pay and what to do. I think including the dealers. So.
Including the dealers. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And we're going to before we get into the pricing of the cars and our thoughts on values, where they're headed, I want to just break down the model for a second. A lot of people know the 997, the 991 came after the 997, and it was really that a lot of people do not know the third complete change, complete new change in the car's complete engineering as far as chassis and
ground up.
And ground up. Thank you. All right. So when the car came out, the first 911, it was the same pretty much until 1999 when the 996 came out. And the 996 was a complete change, as everyone knows. And then again, there was not another complete ground-up change until the 991. I got to get a little close to this mic.
Well, the 997 is a big change, but there was a lot of shared things with the 996.
A lot of shared things with the 996.
But it is a very different car.
Yeah, different car. It also looks and aesthetics, and even engine-wise. But however, this is a complete change. This is really a ground-up new automobile, the 991. And a lot of people going into purchasing that car, it's newer technology, and it's something that should be known. The 997 gives you a little bit more of a visceral. It's a smaller car. It feels more like a sports car, where the 991 is almost like a touring car. Porsche, because they're such a sports car company, has always tried to keep it a sports car, but it's very difficult when you gain mass, when you gain that size, to keep that sporty feel. Yeah. It's like when we look at a 911 out there next to a 996 or a 996 next to a 991, they look like peanuts. Yeah. Every generation makes them look like peanuts. True. But
there's a valid argument that when this came out, the Cayman became like the 911. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a little smaller, and it has enough power now, and it's some people prefer it. So.
And you know what?
Yeah.
sometimes we see a Cayman that just knocks our socks off.
Oh, I love
especially
them.
like that yellow one that was last week.
Yeah,
that
that
S.
2011. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was a gorgeous car. Whoever got that got a beautiful car. But you're right. The Cayman Porsche is smart. They knew they were making this car bigger and more powerful, and they needed to come in with more mid-engine, agile, sporty car to satisfy that segment. Smart car company, obviously. They don't need my accolades, but sometimes they amaze you. So just want to share a couple of other things. The 991 also had some major changes in its second generation. The 991.1 had a 3.4 on the basic Carrera, 3.8 on the larger Carrera, horsepower 345 and then a 395 respectively were offered. The GTS was offered the last 2 years of the 991.1, which the horsepower was 430. I have it written down so I would forget. So there was a real nice bump. The GTS, a naturally aspirated 15 and 16 991.1 GTS with 430 horsepower. What a car that is to buy. That's why that's that real sweet spot. We'll get back into that. And then in 2017, the dot 2 comes out, right? And there goes the naturally aspirated engine.
Yeah, so more performance, but a little less displacement and less feel, in my opinion.
Yeah. So when it first came out, I have to tell you, everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, it going twin turbo, smaller displacement on a Carrera. That's the end of the world." But I've had one. I've driven a GTS Targa, a 991.2, and I'm telling you, I loved it. I think the motor's fantastic. So, just for information, we're going to put this on the screen as well. 2017, 2019, they go to a 3-liter motor for the Carrera and the Carrera S, 370 horsepower. 420 horsepower for the S, and then the GTS comes out again, and it goes to 450 horsepower. So now when you get to the GTSs, you're getting close to GT3 performance, but more of a streetable, more of a daily drive or more comfort than a GTS, but great performance, great look, center lock wheels in many cases, right?
Yep.
And what a beautiful, beautiful car that is. We love the GTS. So that's it.
That's the background.
991.1, naturally aspirated, 3.438, 991.2, 3-liter twin turbo on the non-S and the S, and the GTS bump power on both. So that's what we're talking about here as a good baseline, okay? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to add anything to that?
No, just in terms of what we're talking about here is that I think it's important everyone knows that, with the pandemic and the shortage of new cars, all the cars we're going to talk about today are roughly 20% more in value than they were 6 months to a year ago.
That's very important.
Yeah, it's very important because, at the end of 2020, you were able to get a 992 for 10 to 15,000 on the sticker, a used car. You know what I mean?
I think people need to understand that.
Yeah.
Say that again.
So a 992, the new 911 that's out now.
The new one.
We had a few of them change hands on the site, used, of course, but for under sticker price, whether it be 10, 15,000, whatever the price is. Come, I guess, February, March, April, the inventory got so thin, you have to pay MSRP for like a used car, over MSRP for a new car. So as a result, these 991.2s went up a lot, and then the 991.1s, then obviously everything went up. But these cars, we don't know if they're going to maintain this, or they're going to go back down as the 992s start to replenish in dealer inventory.
When the dealer inventory starts to become plentiful, of course this is going to be affected by it.
It'll be affected. However, the new car is a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And so it remains to be seen. I think it will correct.
Yeah, it's going to. Well, I don't know. Well, again, because of the second part of what you said, that the car is so much more expensive.
Yeah.
Where it is expensive is that it's going to keep this car from tanking.
Yeah.
And it's a Porsche, and they hold their value, and there is also limited supplies of these changing hands. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be, but there will definitely be an adjustment. There always is. I mean, this
it's
is
just like with the GT3s. A client called me last night who has that lava orange GTS he's thinking of putting on here.
Yeah.
And he's asking me if he buys the 991 GT3, does he think it's going to go down when the new one comes out? And I said, yes, but the new one, we spec'd out the Touring, they're about $40,000, $50,000 more. So maybe,
right?
So with the GT3s, that's a separate conversation. I mean, we built the Touring. It came out like $235 with the paint, the sample, and all that. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but we have expensive taste.
Yeah, but if you take that out, it's $12,000. So it's still,
Yes,
still in the twos. So anyway, so that's that. So now we can delve in here a little bit.
So we're going to go into a few of these now, and we're going to take a look at what's sold and give you an idea of where, the .1s and the .2s and the 991 world are at this point. And then we'll talk a little bit about, briefly, what's the forecast of these cars. So we're going to start off right here, John, with a 2017 991 .2 4S with the sport package. Look at this beautiful automobile. But just so you know, the sport package, okay? Let's take a look here. The sport package gives you a couple of really cool things. Number one, it gives you the rear axle steering. It gives you the sport chrono package, which most people really like. The sport exhaust system for the sound, and the GT Sport steering wheel. So that's a nice package to have, the sport package. And the GTS, Jim, has that standard, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
That's one of the things that's just informational.
Yeah, we've said this before. You can make a Carrera S a GTS with options. It'll just cost more money. The GTS packages it and they discount it, and it's all standard. And then obviously you could put like a power package. You can put all the options the GTS has, but it would cost a lot of money to do that on a C2S or C4S.
Yeah, and we have sold cars that people have done that, and they're very interesting.
Very.
But they never hit quite the mark that the GTS does, because why? Why it shouldn't. But one of the things that I love about this car is I love the black wheels, the satin wheels. I'm a sucker for a white car that has black trim with black wheels. My Targa was like that, and it's subjective, but it's a real nice look. And one of the other things about this car that is interesting, which these are the things when you order a car to keep it a little bit special, is the Bordeaux seatbelts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that interior needs a little pop.
It needs a little pop, and and even this over here, when you look inside this car, this little cap on the release, on the seatbelt release, goes with the seatbelt, and those are the little things when you're ordering your car to always consider. These little things make a big difference.
You know what's nice? Some things you can't undo, but the seatbelts can always be added. The dealer sells them. I think you're under $1,000 to buy them, install them.
Oh yeah.
So you could just put them in any car, which a lot of things you can't, right? You can't put the certain things in, unless you want to spend a ridiculous amount of money where it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So here it goes. Here goes my rant, everyone. All you have is pictures and
words.
And and included in the pictures are little things like when somebody has a car. We talked about this. When someone has a car with a stripe that's going to be lovable by one person, and everyone else is going to look and say, "What the heck is that?" Get it off before you sell your car. It will sell the car, or could mean thousands of dollars. And as far as the pictures of the car, how are the pictures on this particular car? Pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right. Remember, door closed. When you're taking a picture of a car, the other side of the car's door is closed. It's never open. You're not looking at the ground or what's behind that. It doesn't make a difference. Now, some people can argue the fact there's more light in there and so forth. It doesn't make a difference. Close the door and make sure that the light is satisfactory to taking the picture. But look how. This is a dark picture, but it's beautiful. It makes you want to be in this car. It looks rich. Okay, not the greatest pictures, but very, very, very nice pictures. Right? See? Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Anyway, so words and pictures. So please spend the money for the right photos. You will get the money back. Some people don't listen. It ends. They're okay. They accept the final bid, and I know that they left money on the table, and it kills me. Okay, so please do that. Number two. Oh, by the way, this car sells for $104,000, so $109,000 all in. A 991.2, 18,000 miles, a 4S with a sport package for $109 all in.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's that. Number two. Here's a 2018, okay, a year newer, 991.2 Targa 4 GTS. Now, this car is available in a 4S, and a GTS. Mm-hmm. Okay?
No two-wheel drive on Targas.
There's no two-wheel drive
on
on Targas.
They're all wide bodies, and they're all all-wheel drive.
And
you need four-wheel drive when you have the top off. For sure.
Well, I'll tell you this. To me, this is probably the best-looking car that Porsche makes.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Yeah.
I still cannot believe they were able to do this with the top. Man, if this is not one of the greatest feats by engineering and mankind, on a car, automotive level, design level, I don't know what is. Look at this car. The lines are even almost nicer than the coupe. That Targa bar throws you back to the late 70s and 80s and 90s. But my goodness, is that gorgeous? And this car is killer. There's your beautiful interior shot. Okay, so Jim, this car is a 2018 Targa 4S. So this one gives you the Sport Chrono package, the PASM, Sport suspension, Sport exhaust, center lock wheels, which are absolutely beautiful on this car. Okay, you can get to see all that caliper, that beautiful red caliper off the seats. Revised styling, okay, of obviously the 991. Increased horsepower, 30 horsepower over the standard 4S. Okay, so you go up to 450 horsepower with the .2 Targa over the 991 .1, or the or off of the standard C4 4S Targa.
Right.
166,000 MSRP, and black and red a big deal. So this car does 150,000 all in.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, how much was the MSRP? We said 166.
166, yeah.
So you buy this car, you drive it almost 10,000 miles, and it cost you like 15 grand.
As the result of the pandemic, yeah.
As a result of the pandemic.
It's important to note, though, that this got as low as maybe 130, 135 at a point. You know what I mean? So
yeah, so that's important for people to know.
Yeah.
Jim, that's great information. That this car did depreciate to 160. Right?
No, 130. Yeah.
130. I'm sorry, 130,000. I'm sorry, the bell's ringing here, driving me crazy. But so the car now, so these prices now brought it back closer to the original MSRP. Very, very interesting.
Yeah,
so
in some cases, these are selling for MSRP if they had like a stick, and like this does have 10,000 miles. So we did catch a few in this bump of pricing right now that, if you had like a 1,000-mile car with a manual, it could bring the MSRP.
Yeah, you know what? This is a PDK. I forget. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. This car could be.
But we talked about this yesterday. Yeah. On this car, for some reason, like on an open-air car, I almost would prefer a PDK, and I'm a stick guy. And you had yours in a PDK, and you're a tremendous manual transmission driver. But a car like this, it's just like it's a strong case, it's a compelling case to get the PDK.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. There are certain cars that you have to have in a stick. There are certain cars that are just conducive for a PDK to be able to use your paddles if you like that.
Yeah.
To get some vigorous driving in, but also just to chill out and cruise.
I guess the way I look at it is, if it's my only Porsche, it would have to be a stick. But if I had several, this would be a PDK. If you're going to own a Porsche with a PDK, it would be a convertible or Targa. So.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's all subjective, and it's regardless. Look at this gorgeous, even with the chrono, the face is beautiful red. So gorgeous car, 150 grand, 10,000 mile, 991.2 Targa GTS. Okay, next up, 991 is a 9,000 mile, 2019 .2 Targa GTS. So now the difference in these two is what, Jim?
A year, but the reason we picked this was to show what you can capture back of the original MSRP, right? So that black car was a 165-ish, right? 166 MSRP. Yep. And that's about average, what you see on these cars. This one had an exorbitantly high MSRP.
Wow.
It only sold for like $11,000 or $12,000 more, right, than the other one.
Yeah.
But this car, if you want to just pull it up, I forgot off the top of my head what it was.
191,000.
So there you go. So for the extra 30 grand or 25 grand, you only got back 10. And again, this is a year newer. So really, if that other one was a year newer, it might have done 150. So you lose. Once you get past a certain amount, you lose. And we know what that is, right? There are certain options like ceramic, certain things you'll get the money back. But when you put leather stitching on like the steering column and things that no one's going to pay extra for, that's where you lose the money. So it's important. When people call up, they say, I want over list on my car. Well, what is the list? Because if you had a Targa with a 140 list, it'll probably do over list.
See, that's a very good point. First of all, these pictures are fantastic again. I'm very upset. He left the door open. There's no purpose to that.
He wanted his light. He's got his fancy light there.
Okay. He put a light unit over there coming in. But you know what? All it did was cause shadows over here. Not good. Close the door and put the lighting on this side. But anyway, the lighting did help there. But, Jim, what you're saying is very, very important, okay, for people to hear. That when you load up your car, like when we buy a car, we load them up pretty good.
Yeah.
But there is a point when you're not gonna get that investment back.
Right.
There are certain options, like you said. Ceramics.
Yeah, ceramics you'll get back, like in GT3s, like the buckets, right? Things like that.
Yeah.
But then also too, the other Targa might not have sold for 145 if it had a black interior. You know what I mean? So this car is a little more of a blah color combo, even though I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
You know what I mean? But if this had a red interior, maybe this would have done 165. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know
we always said color is the game changer. Condition, obviously, condition and photos, but the game changer is color. as long as all things are equal. The big game changer is color. But I agree. Let me tell you, the other one was black red.
Yeah.
Black red, white black, to me, there's no difference. I could be different. Put your comments in there. I know it's all subjective. But if you put both of those cars up with the same equipment, I think you're going to have just as many people loving both.
Possible,
because the white car, I mean, I love the white car with black interior. The white with red you're going to have a smaller market, but it's going to be more rabid. It's going to be more passion in those people, right?
Yeah, it's supply demand. There's less white red. And black
there's
red.
less
That's
white red, right? But
we're not telling you to buy a red interior if you don't like it. You know what I mean? You can't do that. But
I love both of them.
Yeah,
both of them. Both of these cars to me are equal. But anyway, good reference. One's an 18, one's a 19. They're both .2s. They're both GTSs. One is loaded. This one does 162,000 all in.
Right.
The other car did 150 all in, but there's your market on these. Check these out. Go to Pcarmarket, go to results, put up 991s, and you can see these for yourself.
That's right.
And just take a look at them. I know that we're not going to remember everything we say here, but so that's that car, right?
Yep.
And then we have over here a 2017 991.2 Carrera S Endurance Racing Edition. Now, Jim, I want to say a few things about this, and then I want you to talk about this Endurance Racing Edition regarding the values and how they've changed and what caused and why maybe they're not really popping. Yeah. But 11,000 mile car. Okay, take a look at that. You see the striping, limited to 100 made for the U.S. market. That sounds right now, wow. And it's a low production car by Porsche. It must be a fantastic investment. But 100 made for the U.S. Limited edition model commemorates the Porsche's 3 consecutive overall victories in the 24 hours of Le Mans in 2015 to 2017. Includes a sport package, which you talked about before. It gives you the rear axle, the sport chrono. It gives you a couple of really cool features that are in the standard in the GTS, plus exclusive styling like specially appointed interior, and the exterior livery, which we talked about before, which gives you this really funky, kind of cool, weird tape scheme. Right? That's tape, I'm assuming.
Yeah, stickers.
Stickers?
Yeah.
Stickers.
Decals,
excuse me. And so now talk about the value of this car, Jim.
Well, as we always talk about when a car is numbered or limited, it sets records, right? This car has baffled us for years because there was one out of the gate that we talked about the other day. It sold publicly at an RM auction. It was a stick, and it was when they were new, and it had like 50 miles. But it sold for like close to $250,000.
Wow. So
what our assumption here is that was a fluke, because after that, everyone came out trying to put these cars up for big money, and no one could ever get big money on them. We had one like 2 years ago that had delivery miles. I think it got into the 130s. You know what I mean? We could look at it on the site. But if you look at it, the first car we talked about was the same year as this car. It was a 4S, and it sold for almost $10,000 more.
I'm gonna pop that back for a second.
So why?
So you talk about this car.
Yeah. So why did this numbered rare car sell for cheaper than this same year? You know what I mean? So it's a strange car. I'm not saying they're not good, and I'm not saying they're not valuable, but I think that usually I don't think people know what this is. When they build a 50th anniversary, a 40th anniversary, when they build their 60th anniversary car, those have names. You know what I mean? And they harken back to things, and you put the name like 911R, Speedster. When it's a homologation. I just think they came out with the special limited edition car, and I think that they are special because they don't. There's not a lot of them, but nobody knows what it is. And I also think that what you said, this is the first time Porsche put decals on a car that maybe people don't like because it is funky looking.
Yeah,
I would feel weird driving this car.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of this car is that when you look at this car, it looks like a boy racer. It really doesn't look like anything that was done by the manufacturer.
Right. That's right.
And I think so. If 100 cars, if they would have done something really, really cool and special, that it would have got traction. It would have got traction. But another thing about this car is the pictures are just.
But I'll tell you one thing. At the end of the day, this is a good car because listen, you're basically buying this for what a normal one would cost, and there is a potential upside to this car. It is rare. It is limited. Who knows? In 10 years, somebody might like this. I don't know. So it's not a bad. It can't be a bad investment.
If we've learned anything.
Yeah.
The quirky, low production cars usually eventually rise to the top. Mm-hmm. And this is definitely quirky, and
quirky.
It's puzzling, but there's going to be a day that there's going to be a lot of these in collections, and they're not going to be sold, and one's going to pop up, and it's going to be
right.
very, very,
and at this
very
price
special.
point, you can't go wrong. At the 150, people are trying to get for these, over the past 2 years, I think you have some risk there. I'd rather go with like a Club Coupe or something like that.
That's a very good point.
But at 99,000,
buy it.
Yeah, this guy, good for him. The guy who bought this car.
Yeah, 11,000 mile, 2017, 991.2 Carrera S Endurance Racing Edition, 103,000 all in. I think yes, I agree with you 100% that at that price it's a win for the buyer, and at that price, the seller got what the car is worth, and I don't think there's any downside for sure for the buyer. No. That's for sure. All right, next we have the 36,000 mile 2014. Now we're talking 991.1.
Normally aspirated cars.
Okay, so now we're talking, thank you, Jim. Naturally aspirated. Remember, the 991.1s are all naturally aspirated. This car has a 3.4 liter as a Carrera, since it's not an S, but plenty of power. You do not need more than that to enjoy this car. The car does 65,000 pretty much, a little over 65,000 for a 36,000 mile 991. Price wise, Jim, how does that work?
Well, I mean, it's kind of what I said, somewhere around the 20% more than what they were. We saw these cars getting into the low 50s, even into the 40s if they had enough mileage. And here we are, they're in the 60s, and dealers are asking in the 70s for them, and they're getting it. In some cases, because no one has any supply, and then parallel to this, if this was an S, it would be in the 70s, and they used to be in the high 50s, low 60s. So everything's moved up, but this is a nice coupe, and it's got a rear wiper, it's got the painted mirrors, it's got the clear glass taillights, the S wheels. So it's a nice car, it's a nice build, and it's still a good. We said this yesterday, even though they're more expensive than they were a few months ago, it's a lot of car for the price.
And I think a couple of things you mentioned are very important when you're speccing a car or buying a car to consider is this one has the S wheels, big difference. It
on
just
the roof, it's got that roof,
and it's got that pano sunroof that opens up beautifully, and it has the rear wiper, as you mentioned, which is a pretty cool thing for a lot of people. So this car, those couple of extra options really may have set this car.
Yeah, it makes it special because there's a lot of real base Carreras out there. This is not a base. It's nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice.
And again, okay, so there you have 65,000, 36,000 mile 2014 991.1 Carrera Coupe, 3.4 liter. Check out Pcarmarket's results. You can go through you just go in there and search 991s, and you can do. I'm sure people do that who are looking for a car. Go in there and search, and that's that. So next we have here another 991.1. This one is a 7-speed base Carrera.
Right.
Okay.
It's a convertible.
Cabriolet. Right. Yes. And this car is, again, I'm a sucker for the white with black wheels. This car is beautiful. Are these factory wheels? I didn't.
Yeah, they are.
I didn't even notice. I couldn't even see.
Yeah, they're painted from the factory.
Yep.
Nice. It's important to know, we had almost identical situations of this car in an S selling for this price, and now this is a Carrera at 68. I mean, so again, these are up. But it's not a bad value. When a new one is 160 grand, this is a lot of car. True.
See, and that's what it is. When you compare this to a new one, 68, 70,000 bucks for a 17,000 mile, really beautiful car.
It's beautiful, and it has the sport exhaust, which is to me like a must. And it's a good thing. You can add it from the dealer if you want, if you find one that doesn't have it. But this has the sport exhaust, and it has the sport chrono, so it's nice.
Yeah.
So it has that rev matching with the downshifting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Beautiful. And, you're talking about, what's the horsepower on these now?
340, 350,
345 horsepower, right? So that's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough to have a lot of fun. So there you go. 68, 72,000 all in, 71,000 all in. And, again, when the market changes, these are going to take a little bit of a dip.
Yeah, but this is the better one to have with the manual.
Where are they going? Where are they going? This is one of those buy it, enjoy it, and then you'll go through some dips, and one day it'll be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time. You buy something, it's got to cost you some money. A Porsche, and even if these dip, they're not going to be $20,000 like if you buy certain other cars.
Spoiled rotten, Porsche people. Spoiled rotten.
Yep.
You kidding me? I remember the days you buy a car, you lose 30 grand. So what?
Yeah. Oh, that's the way it is.
You bring it to a dealer, you take your beating like a man or a woman, right? And you move on. And you move on with life.
Yeah.
So, finally, this is not the same car. This is a 2013 Porsche 991 Carrera S Cabriolet with PCCBs. Now, this is an oddball car. Again, 991.1, 12,000 miles, Carrera S, so you have the more powerful motor. Again, naturally aspirated, and it has ceramics on it. Now, why would somebody put ceramics on a car like this? They love the yellow calipers?
Or they just don't want brake dust, I don't know.
They don't want brake dust?
Or they checked the wrong box.
Or they checked the wrong box. For whatever the reason, when it's up for auction or when it's for sale, it looks different because of the caliper color.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit more special.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit more special when you see the, it's like someone took a little bit extra care to build this, you know?
Absolutely. And this is close to a new car, so even though, like we've just been saying, not to beat it to death, but this would have been, $10,000, $12,000 cheaper 8 months ago, call it. You're looking at a car. The car looks spotless, right? It's got well under 20,000 miles, basically like a 10,000 mile car. So if you're comparing this to a new car, look at how much money you're saving. You're still getting like a brand new car. It doesn't look worn or anything like that, and it's not going to really depreciate.
No. And I can't get off of this picture. See the calipers with the tan interior, how beautiful that looks. What great photos. Talk about the shadowing in the background. Very charming, beautiful. But
you only had a few good photos. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The photos, when you have a couple of good photos in here, it kind of captivates you, and then you can kind of lose it a little bit. But
so you cut off the front of the car there.
Yeah.
Nice property though. I'd like to.
Oh my goodness!
I'd like to move there.
I'd like to be there as well. Again, that door open. I have no idea why. Close the door. Why is that door open? I just want to see the ground, and it doesn't invite me in. It says, "Come on in and go right out."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like why?
So that's the deal with these cars. So I think the big question we have to answer for people is, there's a debate between the .1 and the .2. Which one should you buy? Yeah, I mean, I think you should give your side of that. And
me?
Yeah. Wow. 'Cause you had the .2 and you liked it.
So here's the thing. I have no issue with the 3-liter motor. It was beautiful. It sounded good. It performed well. I didn't feel turbo lag. They did an incredible job. I think in my brain, sometimes I like to buy the newest of the new cars, and that's that was my mindset for buying the Targa. Right? That's what I wanted. I wanted Porsche's newest. I wanted Porsche's best, latest and greatest. So if you're in that mode, right, I want the latest and greatest. You buy it and you enjoy it, and sometimes they missed the mark. When you look at when they went down to the smaller displacement turbo Boxsters and Caymans, that was a disaster. Okay, that was a disaster.
It's the toughest conversation when people want to sell those, to tell them that those cars are just impossible.
We won't knock them too bad, but that's what I'm talking about. That wasn't the case here. Okay, these motors were strong. They sounded great. They performed well, and that's why you're not seeing the .1s being worth more than the .2s, because if they really screwed this up on the .2s, the 991s would be the hottest thing on the planet. They'd be flying like crazy because they're worth more than the .2s. I don't think that's the case here. However, to be realistic, to be fair, this is the last naturally aspirated Carrera ever made. So these .1s, a lot of people, because of the 997, a lot of people went to the .2s because the 997.2 was a superior car in many ways over the 997.1. But the 991.1, the naturally aspirated motor, to me, is going to be the best investment. So if you could buy a GTS, or if you could buy a Carrera or a Carrera S, I would go with the .1. I would never be afraid to go with the .2. Never. There'd be no reason not to. But I think down the road it's going to be the last naturally aspirated Carrera.
No, I agree.
It's going to be a very, very special thing one day. You know the way this works. This car it's going to be a killer car. Yeah. Buy yourself a 991.1, put it away, man. A low mileage, nice example, put it away, okay? Because it's going to be a very, very special car. Probably the coupes, the GTS coupes especially.
GTS coupes, yeah.
Wow. You know what I mean? So, but that's my opinion on it. But again, I would always say, caution, but not with the 991.2s are incredible cars.
They are incredible cars. I just can't get past the sound. The sound of the .1 is so much better. I remember my first time driving a .2. It was a Mexico Blue. Remember that one that we had here, C2S, and I took it home, and I remember downshifting and had that sport button on.
Yeah.
And the noise that came out of the exhaust was so fake. And there were people. It was by the movie theaters, turning in Huntington, making a left. And I actually felt embarrassed. And that's kind of why I'm such a .1 guy. So it's like a stupid thing to say, but it really is like, you know what I mean? Like I used to feel cool, like, you know, when you're driving like a touring or something, you downshifts, the noise, people are like, wow, what is that? And that thing, it just had like that fake, like that, I don't know. But I've heard them with some nice exhaust. You could definitely do some nice stuff to these and make them sound badass, and that cures the problem. And I'd be the guy that spends the money on that. I never do aftermarket exhaust, but if I had a .2, the factory sport exhaust to me just didn't cut it. I'd have to make it sound more beefy.
So there's a remedy for it.
But you know, listen, you get the Apple CarPlay, the better infotainment, and you know the updated lights and stuff like that. So I do like the car. There's no question. I like it.
So just to reiterate that. So on the 991.2, you get the Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
You get the
newest steering wheel. You know, and it's funny because that other steering wheel, which I always was my favorite steering wheel because it originated in the 4.0, right?
Yep.
It looks like someone blew it up, like, you know, like what an air pump, because it's just like a giant version of that one. So that newest steering wheel is nice.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get the revised tail lights. The only negative with the tail lights is you can't get the clear glass ones anymore. I liked those on the dot ones. Some people don't though.
I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I know you're not. But I had the red one, remember? And the glass. It balanced out the car because there was just too much red.
Yeah.
So I liked it. But,
I guess if you have a red car, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
It looked good. And I remember mine didn't have it. We had a customer that bought a silver one. He hated the lights, and we traded. Remember that? There was when I first met you, when we first started all this stuff.
Yeah, I do remember that, and it's true.
So I got them for free.
Yeah, the color on the car has a tremendous effect on how you treat the accessories and lights.
That's it.
I think it's a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're buying a 991, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please email us. If you put comments, we want your comments because they're great. But if you want us to respond to something, put the comment because there's other people to respond as well. But please send us a message. Jim is more than happy to respond to you.
I do. I love it.
No, he loves it as well as I. And so we'll leave it there. Okay. Thank you for watching. Once again, we know you have a lot of things to do with your time, and spending it with us is much appreciated. Please check out Pcarmarket. We have some fantastic auctions. You know, we're not just Porsche. As a matter of fact, we're growing and growing and growing. We are doing fantastic with Corvettes and Mustangs and Aston Martins and Ferraris and Mercedes, and oh boy, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And
that SL you had in Monterey, that was beautiful. And
yes,
sold.
I think we set a world record for an
R. A big collector bought it.
A big collector bought that car in France, right?
Greece.
I'm sorry, Greece.
Isn't that a shame? The car it made its way here. We never had a car like that here, and now it's back out again.
David brings the car to the United States, puts it up for sale on Pcarmarket, and the car goes back to Europe.
Yep.
I don't know what to tell you. It's just...
So you say it was a record for an R129. I think it was for 300. Yeah, for sure.
For 300. Oh, yeah, it had to be, right?
Yeah.
It was almost 70 grand. Yeah. Right? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of Inside the Market. Check out This Is My Car. I'll put the logo up for our episodes. Thanks. Bye.